We're here at Curzon Street and we're just at the beginning of refurbishment works for this fantastic Grade 1 listed building behind us. Well, it's in the top 2% of all buildings in England because of its historical and architectural significance. Designed by Philip Hardwick, and basically this was the northern counterpoint to the famous Euston Arch, which was sadly lost in the 1960s. Well, the refurbishment's going to take us about a year, and then we've got exciting plans. The ground floor is going to be a visitor centre and a cafe, so you can come and talk to us. And then the first and second stories are going to be flexible office space. So we're going to be bringing the building back into use for the first time in about 15 years.
I think it's really important that we are preserving this piece of heritage for future generations. This railway station was built in 1838. It survived the Second World War. It survived 2 attempts in the 1970s to have it demolished. It's now, of course, protected, Grade 1 listed, and it's fantastic that future generations will be able to come into this building and see one of the oldest railway stations in the world refurbed and some of the heritage elements preserved so that future generations can enjoy it. And interesting to me that we'll create a square outside of the station, and with the railway station itself and the Woodman pub, we'll have these 2 really important heritage elements sitting alongside the new HS2 station, and people will be able to compare a facility built back in the 19th century with a brand new station fit for the 21st century.
So with it in a Grade 1 listed building, we've got to be quite sympathetic to this building, and we've got to make sure that we understand the structure, how the structure is built and what is actually heritage. So that's a challenge for us as well. It's a challenge for us. We're going to be taking the ceilings down. We know the ceilings have been very much probably part of the 80s renovation. It was renovated in the mid-80s. But then the building then is opening up a new envelope of issues that we're finding. Finding out the bomb hit the building in the war, and finding out that, you know, that there's been some structural damage on there. It's been repaired quite crudely over the years, but then, you know, sort of look at it and say, oh, it's quite interesting the way they did it. And then there's some structural repairs we've got to do, and some stone repairs we've got to do. So there'll be some new stone that'll be coming in. Comes from the original quarry where the building was built from, which is up in Derbyshire. And then we'll be doing those repairs as well, some stitch repairs as well. And then the inside of the building, basically what we're doing is we're bringing it up to today's standards. So some elements have been taken away off site. Most of the doors have been taken away off, and they're in our workshop in the Midlands. We've got local trades that are doing that for us. Most of the windows, we're doing them on site. So in the rooms they'll be taken off, and as the scaffold goes, envelopes the building, we'll take the windows out, bring them into, make a little makeshift workshop within that room, and then we'll make those windows good, and then they'll go back, so they won't be transported away from the structure, which again is good for the environment as well, and reduces carbon footprint. I keep telling people to go and watch the programme, the Britain's Biggest Dig, and I'll say, well, that's the station. You know, boring my children to say that's where I'm working at the moment. So yeah, I'm very proud to be working on it.
So this is only a small part of the works that have been ongoing at the Curzon Street site over the last few years. As part of the Enabling Works contract, we've had a huge programme of ground remediation, but also archaeological investigation that's unpicked a huge part of our rail heritage on this site. So we've got all of the other buildings, or the remains thereof, that accompanied this building. You know, this is a real once-in-a-generation opportunity to actually refurbish the building to a decent standard, get people back into it for the first time in a long while, and then actually revive it as the architectural jewel it really is, as part of the new emerging scheme here as part of our new Curzon Street Station.